Não é tempo técnico, mas é intervalo aqui no podcast. Já imaginou se seu time tivesse um seguro para não perder nunca? Pois é, isso não existe. Mas com a Zurich Seguros, quem não perde nunca é você. Na Zurich Seguros, os planos se adequam às suas necessidades em qualquer momento da sua vida. Seja seguro de auto, residência, vida e muito mais. Diferente de alguns times, na Zurich Seguros você pode confiar. Para saber mais, acesse zurich.com.br ou consulte seu corretor.
Meu nome é Cairo Santos e eu sou o kicker e único brasileiro jogando na NFL. Cada chute, cada jarda conquistada, cada passo me levou para mais perto dos meus sonhos. Agora, a cada R$200 em compras com seu Visa cadastrado, você tem a chance de ficar mais perto do sonho de assistir ao Super Bowl 59. E usando o seu cartão de débito, você ainda concorre a prêmios diários de até R$1.000. Não importa o tamanho do seu sonho, dê o primeiro passo. Visa, apoiando seus passos aonde você quiser chegar.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome back, Ram fans. Episode 574 of Rams Up. I am going to share my game picks, my Rams Up Straight Up game picks for Week 10 as shared on the YouTube channel. And I'm also going to throw in my power rankings, which I dumped on the YouTube channel a couple days ago. Share it here in case you missed it. Not a lot of news yet on this Rams-Dolphins game, although the Rams have designated Steve Avila and Jonah Jackson for return from IR. So they enter a 21-day period where the Rams have the opportunity to activate them. They will not be playing against the Dolphins, but would not be surprised if they're ready to go the following week against the Patriots. This is just my guess here. Rams are getting healthier. And look at this problem we're going to have. We're going to have a really big problem. Too many offensive linemen, too many good ones. When Rob Havenstein comes back, we're going to have a surplus, especially on the interior. Jonah Jackson, Steve Avila, Bo Limmer, Justin Dedich, Kevin Dotson. What are we going to do with all these guys? And Warren McClendon played okay in relief of Rob Havenstein. Joseph Noteboom waiting in the wings. He'll probably get the call this week. And on the other side, Lyric Jackson. Don't hear his name much, do you? Which is a really good thing. We'll come back Saturday with my preview of the Dolphins game and updated injury reports. And make sure you hit the YouTube channel. Ian is throwing up some good stuff there, film studies, very entertaining, and you'll probably learn a thing or two as well. So let's get to the game picks, Rams Up Straight Up game picks for Week 10, and we'll follow that up with our power rankings. And full disclosure, recorded this before the Thursday night game in which I did pick the Ravens. Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? Time for my Week 10 Rams Up Straight Up picks. Had a pretty good week last week. So did Pete, though. He actually made up some ground on me, picked up one game in the standings on me. We both put on a pretty good roll after an extremely slow start. So how did we do last week? Let's look at the numbers. I went 13-2. Pete went 14-1. We only disagreed on one game, and it went his way. So I am at 87 correct, 51 wrong. He's at 80 correct, 58 wrong. Last week, pretty easy, really. I don't think there were a lot of games. Certainly weren't a lot of upsets. Things kind of went as planned. The one we disagreed on was the Titans and Patriots. I took the Patriots on the road, so I got that one wrong, and that's where he gained on me one game. But, slow starts for both of us, but we've been on a bit of a roll, especially me. I've been doing really well the last few weeks. So what do we have this week? Well, let's start with the Bengals. 4-5 Bengals at the Ravens, 6-3. Ravens are favored by 5.5. And this is a really meaningful part of the Bengals schedule. I've been saying that they're going to go on a run here. And this is a tough spot to go on a run. They have the Ravens, and then after that, two other playoff contenders, the Chargers and the Steelers. Two teams they need to beat, though, right? If they can't get by the Ravens, because I don't think they will. This is a bad week to get rolling on the road against one of the better teams in the NFL. So that Bengals run I've been talking about doesn't start this week. I'm taking the Ravens to improve to 7-3. Giants at the Panthers. Not going to spend a lot of time on this. Both teams 2-7. I'll take the road team, the Giants, but don't dismiss the possibilities that Bryce Young and the Panthers will get another win here. The 2-7 Patriots at the 4-4 Bears. Everybody's talking about the Caleb Williams play regressing a little bit, talking about some issues in the locker room. Some players perhaps, put it this way, the coach perhaps losing that locker room a little bit. Not good. The Bears still have a shot. They could go on a run in a really tough division. They can't fall too much further behind. They got 3 teams ahead of them. But man, that loss to the Commanders, it's probably going to take 2 weeks for that to wear off. And this is the game. Maybe they get it together. Historically, the Bears are 1-5 at New England, though. I like to talk about these trends. That's not a good one. I don't know if these trends make any sense at all. I don't know if it makes any sense to lean on these trends, but something to be aware of. Bears are favored by 6, and I think they will win this game. Not sure if they're going to cover, but taking the Bears to win. The Bills at the Colts. The Colts have won 6 straight at home against Buffalo. Another trend to be aware of. I just don't like their quarterback situation. I thought Anthony Richardson was going to have a good season. Drafted him in fantasy football, not too early, thankfully. And he has fallen out of favor there. And Joe Flacco, really talented guy. A lot of respect for him. You can pop him in there for a couple of games and he can get it done. But he's certainly not a long-term solution, right? And just not the answer for a Colts team that has a shot at the playoffs, in my opinion. But so I'm taking the Bills to win this game. Their first win in 7 tries at Indianapolis. Bills for the win. What do we got next? The Vikings at the Jags. Vikings are favored by 4.5. Coming off a win they needed badly. Broke a 2-game losing streak, knocking off the Colts Sunday night. They get another AFC team here, the Jags. These teams have played 7 times. 2 of those 7 times it went into overtime. The Jags have beaten the Vikings only once, and I think this is the second time they beat the Vikings. There are some teams in the league that get much more love than they deserve, and there are teams that are dismissed too readily, and the Jags are one of them. Still a decent football team. They've looked at their schedule early on, had a couple heartbreaking losses. I like the Jags to pull the upset here. I don't think it's a big upset, in my opinion. A home underdog, 4.5 points. I think that's a little much. Going to be a good game. Jags pull it off. Broncos at the Chiefs. I thought the Broncos were going to cover against the Ravens last week. I thought their defense would keep them in the game, but they're clearly relying too heavily on their defense to keep them in games. The offense is not getting it done. Chiefs are favored by 8, which seems about right. Probably going to be a little bit low scoring. Broncos defense will keep it that way. I don't think the Chiefs are the offensive juggernaut like we have in Baltimore right now. Maybe things will improve as DeAndre Hopkins gets settled into that offense. But I'll take the Chiefs to win this one. Then you have the Falcons at the Saints. After week 2, Saints were 2-0. Falcons were the consensus favorite to win that division. You looked ahead and you thought this is going to be a big game. Well, it's a big game for the Falcons. They're 6-3. Saints 2-7. Spread's only 3.5. Now the Saints, they got their coach fired. Dennis Allen is gone. Darren Rizzi takes over as interim coach. Raheem Morris has his team pointed in the right direction. I'll say it again. There are some chinks in the Falcons' armor. If you look closely enough, they'll win this game. But I don't think, and I think they're going to win the division. I don't think they're going to win much more than that, though. The 49ers at the Bucks. 49ers got to fly across the country. They're favored by 6. Christian McCaffrey, I think he's going to play. The Bucks will put up a fight, though. A really good roster, as we saw against the Chiefs. They're missing their top 2 receivers, and they still took the Chiefs into overtime. 49ers have dominated in the series, 20 wins, 7 losses. But keep in mind, a lot of those games, the Bucks are, they've had their moments, but they've had some periods where they were pretty dreadful. And I think the 49ers got rich during those periods still. And the Bucks have won 4 of the last 6 at home as well. Another a trend I will ignore. The 49ers win this game. Steelers at the Commanders. So you got a really good offensive team going up against a team, the Steelers, that just plays really solid defense and fundamentally sound football on both sides of the ball. Commanders are favored by 3. This is a game that really curious to see what happens. I think the Steelers are one of those teams, like what I talked about, the Jags being dismissed too readily by people as being this crappy team. And I think the Steelers are one of those teams that get a little more love than they deserve. I think the Commanders win this game, and I think they cover as well. Titans at the Chargers, 2 of the better defenses in the league. It's kind of interesting. The Titans have given up the fewest yards per game in the league, 269 yards per game, but they're still giving up 27 points a game. So I haven't done a deep dive into that. Must be an explanation for it. The Chargers, meanwhile, are 8th in yards allowed per game and are only giving up 13 points per game. So what does it tell you? This game's going to be played in the teens, and I don't mean temperature. I mean score-wise. Probably looking at a score something like 16-10, unless there's a couple of catastrophic turnovers. That's the type of game you're looking at here. Chargers at home, I think they win 16-10. The Jets at the Cardinals. Jets had some extra time to prepare. They at last played on the Thursday night, but not sure if that's going to be enough to hang with a Cardinals team that's really rolling. This will be a battle, though. The Jets are 3-6, but they're favored by 1. So, yeah, if this game was played on day 1, I made this comment about the Rams-Dolphins game. If they were meeting on opening day and they were both healthy and we knew nothing else about them, probably be a pick'em game. Dolphins might even be favored, yet the Rams are favored. In this game, kind of the same deal, but the Jets are favored. Big game for them because they are still relevant. They could still make a run. They have the players to get it done, don't they? And we'd like them to get it done. This is probably the most difficult game for me to pick. Cardinals are such an inconsistent team. When they're good, they look really good. Wow. What do I do with this one? I think I'm going to go with the Jets. I would really like the Jets to win, so we'll go with the Jets. Eagles at the Cowboys. Eagles are 7-point road favorites. Cooper Rush will be the quarterback, apparently. Dak Prescott out. I think the Eagles win big. The Cowboys are just in disarray. Maybe, a divisional game at home, they rise to the occasion, but I just don't see it. They don't have a run game. Cooper Rush, probably a decent backup quarterback. CeeDee Lamb was banged up last week, assuming he's going to play. But what else? What else what are the Cowboys hanging their hat on right now? It's not their coaching. I don't know. It's not Micah Kiser. So they're in trouble. Eagles win. Lions at the Texans. Another game of the week for the Lions, I guess, right? 2 in a row. The one against the Packers turned out to be a bit of a dud. On paper, Lions 7-1, Texans 6-3, but Texans are the home team. Man, on paper, a really, really good game. This is only the 6th time they have played. The Texans lead 4 wins, 1 loss. And the Lions, they're my number 1 team. Aiden Hutchinson went down. They finally pick up his replacement, Za'Darius Smith. I think the Lions win this game. They're just playing so well, firing on all cylinders. And I still think the Texans are going to be a team to deal with in the playoffs, certainly more than a team like the Steelers, but the Lions win this one. Dolphins at the Rams, that's our game, right? And I already talked about it at the roundtable, and I'll be talking about it in my preview that I provide probably Saturday morning since it's a Monday night game. Dolphins will have the edge when the ball is in the air, regardless of who has the ball. They're gonna they're gonna be chucking the ball over the field. Their pass defense is really good. But the Rams, a wide receiving core looking pretty darn good too. I think the Rams will get to Tua. Got to be careful here because their running backs are really fast. You got to be disciplined. It's a tough challenge, a really big challenge for this Rams team. Probably not the ideal matchup for them. But the Dolphins, their defensive stats are pretty good. But as someone pointed out on our YouTube channel, look at the quarterbacks they have faced this year. They haven't dealt with quarterbacks of the caliber that they're facing Monday night with the Rams. So maybe the edge goes to the Rams there when the Rams have the ball and Matthew Stafford starts chucking it around with guys like Jalen Ramsey and Jordan Poyer back there. I think Kyren Williams has a big day, though. He's had a little bit trouble getting going last week. Seems like all three of his big runs got called back for holding calls. So I think he gets going. Rams win a close one and improve to 5-4. And if this all comes to pass, that would leave a bit of a bottleneck in the NFC West. But man, good times. Rams improve to 5-4 and then head across the country to play the Patriots with a very good shot at getting to 6-4. Pretty incredible considering how we felt about this team after that Packers game. Those are my Rams Up Straight Up picks for Week 10. Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? Got my Week 10 power rankings for you. A little bit of shuffling at the top, some minor changes in the green room. No new teams that are categorized as done. Their season is over. I still have 8 teams listed there. Who are the 8 teams whose seasons are over? Well, the Browns, the Saints, the Raiders, Patriots, Panthers, Giants, Jags, and Titans. And as I mentioned in the pod the other day, 2 teams on the brink. Yeah, you might argue that the Dolphins are done as well, but at 2-6, still a really good team. They really are. Almost pulled the upset off over the Bills. Get the Rams on Monday Night Football. That's going to be a tough game. Could be a really fun game, but I'm not crossing them out. I'm not totally giving up on them. Hopefully, after Monday night, we can say the Dolphins are done. And the other team, the Jets, at 3-6, they could also go on a run. If you look at their schedules, not too overwhelming moving forward, so I'm not counting them out. Now, the green room, I have 1 new team entering the green room and 2 teams leaving the green room. Out of the green room are the Seahawks and the Cowboys. Cowboys are a team that I had a lot of faith in. I thought they were going to be a pretty good football team, and I looked at their offensive line and their running backs, and I should have hedged my bet there. It's not working for the Cowboys, especially with their defense dinged up. In the Seahawks, they're one of 3 or 4 teams that I think the public has been overrating. The other ones being the Packers and the Steelers. The Seahawks at 3-0 start. Look at who they played. And they're coming back down to earth pretty hard. They did beat the Falcons. Man, Falcons, we really needed you to win that one. So the Seahawks and Cowboys are out of the green room. New team in the green room, and I've talked about the Cincinnati Bengals. We tend to forget about them, but they're a team that could really go on a run with that quarterback they have, Joe Burrow, some offensive weapons there, and they seem to do this every year. They have a beginning of the season, they really struggle. They go on a run, and then Joe Burrow gets hurt. So if Joe Burrow stays healthy and finishes the season, the Bengals could be a playoff team. They're 4-5 right now. So I have them in the green room along with the Falcons. And no, they're not in my top 12. Another team that I think is, hey, they have the easiest schedule in the league. And then they beat the wounded Cowboys. And someone made a comment, one of the color commentators, that they are going to be a force in the playoffs. And I'm not quite buying it yet. They are still in my green room, along with the Cardinals, another team on the rise. They just need to be a little more consistent, but they're starting to scare me a little bit. Then I have the Bears, who, man, I have a feeling they're having some, maybe the coach there is losing the room a little bit. Just have a sneaky suspicion. Some of the things I read after that Hail Mary lost to the Commanders and then thrown a dud in Arizona. The Broncos, really good defensive team, but if the opposition is able to put points up on the board against that defense, the offense can't keep up. We saw that with their big loss to the Ravens. And who else do I have here? Well, our Rams. Our Rams are still in the green room, not ready to propel them into the top 12. If they beat the Dolphins and a couple of these teams in the top 12, maybe struggle a little bit, Rams may re-enter. First things first, they got to beat the Dolphins. But, man, this is a really fun Rams team. And I've seen them ranked, I think they're in the mid-teens at this point on most power polls. And me having them in the green room outside the top 12 pretty much syncs up with that. So who are my top 12? Well, my number 12 team dropping 5 spots, the Packers. I don't know about these Packers. Another team I think is getting a little bit too much love for Jordan Love, perhaps. So they get hammered at home by the Lions. Final score wasn't that bad, but I don't think that was a very good showing by the Packers or Jordan Love. The Steelers were on their bye, so they're still 6-2. They're my number 11 team, holding steady. Jumping up 2 spots, the LA Chargers. You got to give that defense credit, right? Man, pretty impressive. Giving up 101 points, and 7 of those points were garbage points to the Browns at the end of the game there. And my number 9 team dropping 1 spot. Moving up 1 spot from number 10 to number 9, the Washington Commanders. A lot of these teams leapfrogging the Packers, Commanders. That was a little closer than I expected with the Giants there. So, moving forward, Commanders still have a little bit to prove. They can't, put it on Jaden Daniels every game and expect him to play brilliantly and carry that team to victory. Some other guys got to step up, especially the defense. Minnesota Vikings move up 1 spot from number 9 to number 8, getting back in the win column after 2 straight losses. And let's see, who else we got here? We have the San Francisco 49ers also leapfrogging the Packers. They were on a bye along with the Steelers. If they start to get healthy, they'll be climbing some more. They're number 7 right now. I saw one power ranking with them at number 13. Not buying it. This team is still really good. Some question marks. I have some questions about their quarterback, Brock Purdy. But if he has all his weapons and his defense gets it together, Brock Purdy will be just fine. My number 6 team, dropping 1 spot, the Houston Texans lost that Thursday night game. And they basically switch spots with the Ravens. So the Texans go from 5 to 6. Ravens go from 6 to 5. Ravens hammered the Denver Broncos, a really good defense, man. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Hey, what more can you ask for? And the Philadelphia Eagles riding steady at number 4, another win. They're at 6-2. And man, Eagles Commanders game's going to come down to that. And the Bills holding steady at number 3. They get another win against a good Dolphins team at home. Took a 61-yard field goal at the end there. But a win's a win. Really good football team. And in fact, I would say these top 5 are the only teams that I would characterize as really good football teams right now. The number 2 team, the Chiefs, that was surprising result on Monday night to the Bucs without their top two receivers, taking them into overtime. Bucs should have went for two. Should have went for the win, in my opinion, on the road against Patrick Mahomes. Go for it. Sitting in my living room, it's an easy decision to make. Not so much on the sideline, but so the Chiefs improved to 8-0, but they are not better right now than my number one team, the Detroit Lions, and just not. I saw one power poll where the Lions were like 4th or 5th. No, they're the best team of football right now, and they made a trade there today to make up for the loss of Aiden Hutchinson, Zadarius Smith being added to that roster. That's a good move. So the Lions are number one. And these top 5 are the 5 teams that I would qualify as good, really good football teams right now. The Lions, Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, and Ravens. And there's a group underneath them. They got a little proven to do. The 49ers, I think, would be in that group. When healthy, they will be in that group. They'll be in that top 5 group. But right now, not so much. So that is my Week 10 power rankings. Hope you enjoyed that. Maybe we'll be talking about the Rams at number 10, 11, or 12 next week. Got to take care of the Miami Dolphins. And historically, that has been a real challenge for the Rams, a 2-12 record against the Dolphins. It's a trend. I don't know if there's a cause effect here, but it's still a scary trend. And the fact that Sean McVay has struggled against AFC teams, another trend that worries me a little bit. But Rams are certainly pumped and look like a team on the rise. The Dolphins, really good roster. Tyreek Hill, Tua, Jalen Waddle. It's going to be a challenge for this Rams secondary for sure. But maybe if we can get to Tua a few times, that could alter the outcome in our favor. But we'll talk more about that at a roundtable. We'll talk extensively about this Rams-Dolphins matchup, get into the stats, key matchups, keys to victory, all that good stuff. Hey, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Out here from Rams Up. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.